Somebody said to me, what is the man you're playing? What described to me in a few words your character? So I say, he's just a dirty bum. There are only two clean things about him: his gun and his soul. And that's really what makes a Western. Your hero has to be just like that.
With Brenner clearly the star of the Magnificent Seven, director Sturgis began to search for the rest of the film's cast.
And he's the one that picked those young, unknown kids like Steve McQueen, Jimmy Colburn, Charlie Bronson and company. He's the one who picked them.
I think that John Sturgis was one of those guys who always said, you know, when you cast a picture, be careful of the gut. Never mind the head, he meant the stars. Be careful of the middle of the cast. That's where you got to have the strength. And if you look at his pictures, that's where they were. Bad Day at Black Rock and Gunfight and all those kind of pictures.
Several of the film's future cast were already known to Sturgis. TV star Steve McQueen had worked on his war film Never So Few, as had Charles Bronson. Brad Dexter had been in Sturgis's last train from Gun Hill. So that he could have time off from his television show to do The Magnificent Seven, Steve McQueen was forced to fake an accident.
Steve wanted to do this. He said, I've got to get out, but got to make it look like an accident. So I'm in the car with him, and he says, okay, you ready? I said, yeah, I'm ready. What are you going to do? He said, I'm going to pretend like we crashed. Oh, okay. No seatbelts in those days. So he said, hold on as tight as you can. He crashed the damn thing, you know. And he had a gash here, whatever it was. But anyway, it worked.
Say, what's your name?
Make it Vin. What's your?
Chris.
But if McQueen thought he was to be the good-looking young gun, he found himself up against an ace face from Europe.
The word is out you're looking for men.
That's right. Men who are good with that.
I'm good with it.
Fast?
Try me.
I aim to. Step in closer.
For an Easterner to get into a Western, this was the joke between Yul Brynner and me. We said, we're really the only Easterners in this Western.
Hold your hands like that. A clap. Faster. As fast as you can.
And he says, clap your hands. Yul wasn't really fast. I always had to wait for some to grab his gun.
I loved everybody in the movie. They were all great at the time actors, but the casting of the German actor as a Mexican was the strangest. And here he is playing this Latino, and it's what? This guy's a German. What's going on here? But after a while, you bought it.
More casting surprises were to follow when Sturgis chose Broadway actor Eli Wallach for the role of the Mexican bandit chief, Calvera.
That's a mystery. It really is. I don't know how I was selected for this film. I think I was doing a film in California, and I got a call, and my agent said, go to see the director, John Sturgis. And he said to me, I didn't have to read or anything. He said, I'd like you to be in this film. I said, I've seen the movie by Kurosawa called The Seven Samurai. What role do you see me in? He said, the head bandit. In the samurai film, the head bandit wears a black eye patch. You see the horse's hooves. He rides in and rides out. And I thought, that's a dull role. He said, read the script. I read the script, and I found that I rode into town with my 35 bandits and ride out. And I thought, I don't want to do that. But then I realized, for the next 35 minutes, all they talk about is he's coming back. They're getting him. His men are here. He's arriving. I thought, that's wonderful. I'll take the part.
Final casting proved critical, as an actor's strike threatened to close down Hollywood.
I believe Yul Brynner was cast and Steve had been cast. And there was an actor's strike that was going to occur at 5 p.m. I think it was a Friday afternoon. And I had just been nominated for the Academy Award, and this was in February of 1960. I suddenly got a call from my agent and said, "You've got to get over to see John Sturges." He said, "Well, there really isn't a role that could be said to be your role in this picture, but I can guarantee you, based upon your performance that you were nominated for, we're going to make a role worthwhile for you."
How much does the job pay?
I thought you were looking for the Johnson brothers.
I found them.
So basically, that's how it happened. Then I think I ran into Jimmy Coburn or something. I said, "You know, they're casting over here for the Magnificent Seven." And Jimmy was an old friend of mine. We went to college together in the early 50s.
I ran into Robert Vaughn, who I'd gone to school with at Los Angeles City College. And it was coming out of the store, and I was going into the store. And I said, "Hey, man, what are you doing?" "Oh, I'm going to do the Magnificent Seven." So I figured, Jesus, that's great. When are you going to go? He said, "Well, no, it has to be cast by Saturday night because there's an actor's strike." I said, "Who's doing it?" He said, "John Sturges over at, so go see him." So I had my agent set up a meeting and went to see John. He said, "But there's one of the seven that haven't been cast yet." And I said, "Well, what part is that, John?" He said, "That's Britt. He's the guy with the knife." I said, "Is that the counterpart of the greatest swordsman in Japan at that point?" And he said, yeah. He said, "Yeah, that's the guy." And I said, "That's the one I want to play, John." And so he said, "Well, I'll let you know." And so I went home and I told my wife, my then wife, I said, I think I got a chance. I got a chance to play the character that I've always wanted to play, always loved. And at 3:30 he called me, he says, "Okay, Jim, come on over and pick up your knives." And, pow! It was like Christmas, Valentine's Day, and my birthday all rolled into one. It was just an enormously wonderful, joyous feeling.
With the cast in place, the production moseyed on down to Mexico. The Magnificent Seven was one of the few American films to escape the 1960 actors' strike because the cast had been signed, sealed, and delivered before the union's deadline.
I said, "Never mind, I'm in."
Dirty dog.
The film's two major sets, the border town at the opening of the movie and the Mexican village, were built just outside the town of Cuernavaca. But filming in Mexico proved to be no fiesta.
Something had happened in Mexico shortly before we came down to do the movie. There was a movie called, with Gary Cooper, Veracruz it was called. The Mexicans were so upset by that depiction of Mexicans that they ripped the seats out of the theater and threw it at the screen. And they said, "No more American movies down here."
Mexican actors and technicians were given key roles on the movie in a bid to smooth relations between Yankee filmmakers and the Mexican government.
"I wasn't afraid of you. It's my father. He says, stay away from those men. They are brutes. They are cruel."
He's right. You know that? He's right.
Yo me acuerdo muy vagamente.
As I recall, the script had to be checked and revised very carefully to make sure that there were no images that denigrated the country.
They assigned a censor, actually, to sit on the set while the film was being shot. And we did have a certain amount of difficulty with the censor, which resulted really from a basic problem that they had with the premise of the film.
And was the script saying these people wouldn't fight against tyranny, so they had to go hire somebody to fight for them? That was the key, and the only key that ever came up that had to be dealt with.
The censors demanded one major script change to avoid insult to Mexican national dignity. Instead of seeking out gringo gunfighters to defend them, the villagers were only to buy guns for themselves. The hiring of the 7 warriors, once central to Kurosawa's plot, had now become an afterthought.